Think beyond traditional business banking. Think a partner that gives you in-depth financial insights.
It's not just the big corporates that should be assessing their social and environmental impact. Medium enterprises are fast realizing that following environmental, social, and governance guidelines, or ESG, has immense benefits. Well, in today's episode of Business Matters, we explore why ESG goals are crucial for even the smallest venture. Lulu, thanks for joining us. A recent survey shows that nearly half of customers or clients these days are making sustainable choices when they shop around. As a business, increasingly, you've got to give them that.
We've really seen a change over the last couple of years of what consumers are expecting. It's literally part of their everyday life, from making the decisions about groceries and clothes and homes and cars and everything, and then also where they work. So is it a brand that they want to be associated with, and do they agree with the purpose of what companies are taking to the market? If you look at people that are coming into the market now and that are starting to get buying power, they have a very different view about what is important. And as a company, if you want to stay ahead of the curve, you have to think about that. Shareholders have for a long time already started to put pressure on companies to make sure that they are living their values and looking at sustainability.
Are there low-hanging fruit, quick choices that a medium enterprise, for example, can get onto the wagon as quick as possible?
People are reasonably, and consumers are reasonably forgiving if you say, listen, we're on a journey. They don't expect you to get everything right overnight, but they want you to show progress and show commitment and communicate. Having a strategy and then showing progress. And then secondly, don't commit to too much. Rather keep it smaller in terms of what you're focusing on and show progress in those areas. And then of course, there is the regulatory component as well. And I think some of the things that's happening in Europe and some of the regulation that we're seeing there is going to impact our businesses. If you export to Europe, there's going to be a carbon border adjustment, which will impact our businesses. What it basically means is an additional tax. For South African firms to say that we don't have regulation in place, yes, that might be true, but you will be impacted by those. So understand the market in which you operate. If you're an exporter, understand the regulatory changes that is happening in those markets.
It's also a very positive thing to have on your fact sheet when you're seeking funding, isn't it? Because it's just a little bit more accessible these days to get the funding if you score the points.
Absolutely. You can access funding that are specifically targeted towards sustainable investments and sustainable businesses as well. It's a market that's still developing in South Africa, but definitely there are opportunities that's available. So it helps if you can show what you're doing. But over and above that, if you're in a business that is deemed risky, high carbon emissions business, there's questions about the sustainability and whether you will be around in a few years' time. If you can show that you are changing and adapting, it makes you more financially stable and creditworthy as well.
Are ESG ambitions costly?
So yes, there are costs involved, but it doesn't need to necessarily be costly because, there's so many benefits if you become more efficient. The first thing is to start at your business costs and understand which of those are actually linked to certain of the sustainability outcomes. And if you're more efficient in terms of water use, logistics, energy use, big one in South Africa, it will improve your ESG and your sustainability credentials, but it could also be beneficial for you as a business. Over and above that, if you look at certain of the regulatory requirements, there will be costs involved. We can't deny that, to say that to implement those, there will be costs involved. But it would secure the long-term sustainability of your business, and it could make you more competitive in the market out there. Try and see where there's overlap between the things that are potentially costly to you, and if you change that, could mean better ESG and sustainable outcomes and could drive down your carbon emissions, etc. So that you find the sweet spot between those.
This program is in partnership with Nedbank Commercial Banking, a banking partner that thinks bigger to guide your business growth.